Well, Richa, Amir, Tanuj, and Akshay, excited to have you all on Film Mission. We so warm welcome to you all.
Thank you.
And I think Richa, beginning with you. I mean, throughout the seasons of Inside Edge, Zarina has constantly been tossed between Vikrant and Bhai Sab. And I think it's quite wonderful to see her sort of gaining the reins of power now. So I guess how powerful will she actually be in the third season, and to what extent will she overcome the patriarchal gatekeepers in the game?
I don't think she can fully overcome the patriarchal gatekeepers of the game, except for a little while. Uh, mm, Perhaps the end of season three will be on a high note for Zarina, and that's about as much as I can say because, uh, I mean, anything more would be spoilers. But yeah, I mean, I think she's going to try her best to sort of come out on top. I mean, she sees that, Bollywood and the few crores it earns her is no match for the hundreds, possibly thousands of crores to be made elsewhere in some other, you know, avenue of income. So it's kind of like that for her right now. And yeah, I mean, she's really going to play a smart one this time because, you know, nothing worse than realizing that you've been used without your knowledge.
Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah. Oh God, yeah. I can totally resonate with that sentiment, and I think that's why I really feel very strongly. I think for Zarina
Zarina.
too, because of that very reason as well, Richa. And I think
Yeah.
that's very very true. But yes, I think on the lines of gender, Akshay, this is your first sports drama, and your
Yeah.
character seems to have a lot at stake. From the trailer, there's this talab of him becoming this captain, and there's also something which he's also conceding, which he cannot reveal as well. But I think, in what way do you feel your character sort of challenges archaic gender roles of men within the sport as well?
Oh man, Anuj, I would love. I'm so glad that you noticed that in the trailer, and I would love to talk about it. But I know there's people from Amazon here who's just gonna like kill me for talking about it. So unfortunately, I'll have to avoid it. But I'm so glad you caught it. And without spilling the beans too much, I understood the responsibility that doing a role like this comes with.
Yeah.
And it's been written so beautifully, and it's been designed so nicely that I really didn't want to mess it up. I wanted it to be, I wanted people to relate to it. I want people to understand it, and then the importance of it. I'm just glad that the makers of the show even put this angle into such a commercially successful, widely watched show, because I think the topic that my character addresses are very, very healthy and very relevant conversations to be having.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I really just hope that people who watch it also kind of connect with it, and that they feel that I've portrayed this particular movement in sport with as much respect as I possibly could have.
Yes, and thank you so much, and a huge thanks to the makers as well for including such a storyline. It's
Oh
so
yeah,
important, and I'm
yeah,
really thrilled that we've got this. And I've been waiting
absolutely,
for
absolutely,
someone in Bollywood or Indian entertainment to do that. So I'm glad, at
yeah.
least through my favorite show, Inside Edge, we've got that. So I'm
Oh, I'm
quite
so
happy
happy to
to.
hear that. I'm so happy to hear it's your favorite show, and yeah, yeah, you're so right. It's so important. I'm so glad. I mean, hats off to Karan Anshuman and Excel for doing it, and Amazon for doing it.
Yes, and it's wonderful to see you and Tanuj working together as well. I think because you guys
Yeah,
worked on another show previously as well, so it's
yeah,
wonderful to see you
yeah,
both working together again. In fact,
yeah.
Tanuj, you've been a part of the series from since the onset. I think with Richa as well.
Yes.
So it was, and I think it was amazing to see that it got nominated at the Emmys in
Yeah.
2018, and I was very, very ecstatic. In fact, I remember speaking with Vivek about that as well. But do you feel that this Emmy nomination has added, in a sense, more pressure and expectations regarding the story and overall creative input within the series?
Maybe to some extent, you could say, because I mean, it was the first Indian original to be nominated for the international Emmys. But I feel the success of the first season is what truly added expectation and pressure on to everyone for the subsequent season. And I'm glad, for the most part, we were able to live up to it. A lot of people thought that season two was an improvement upon the original, and uh, so I guess there's pressure every time when when it's a known entity and people already have had a taste or have had a look at it. Like we really had no pressure coming into the first season because at that time it was uncharted territory. We just knew we were sitting on something edgy and something that could potentially be a game changer, but no one could have anticipated that it would snowball into something so massive, you know. So of course, with the subsequent seasons, there is pressure. But for me personally, when I'm performing on set or I'm prepping for a role, I try and just block out everything else and focus only on the process and not think too much about the result, because I would be doing a bit of a disservice to the character that I'm essaying if I'm already thinking, oh, should I play this line or say this in a particular manner because this was a fan favorite and the fans like this. So you have to stay true to what made that character work in the first place. And I have a lot of trust in the people I'm surrounded by, be it my co-stars and especially my creators, my director Kanish, my batting coach Prashant, the entire writing team, Excel, Amazon, and last but not least Karan Anshuman. So I literally they just hold my hand and take me through wherever Vayu needs to be and wherever he needs to go.
Wonderful. Well, that's really good to hear. And I love seeing Vayu as well. I mean, he sometimes has these very comical one-liners as well when he's in very extreme pressures within the show as well. I remember even when he was at Loggerheads with Arvind Vashish last season as well. I remember it was quite wonderful to see. But I think, Aamir, coming on to you, I really love the dynamic between Bhai Saab and Vikrant Dhawan. I think it is such a wonderful thing to witness, and poor Zarina has to always bear the brunt of it. But besides that, I think it's wonderful to see that dynamic that we have in the show. And I think this season in particular, debates the legalization of betting. So in reality, could this actually be an ideal solution to tackle corruption in sports?
Yes, I would say so. I would say so, and that is the case. That is how it is in the rest of the world. We are kind of behind in that sense, and it's again it's another topic that this season it's kind of dealing with this topic as well, which is something that needs to be talked about. What we have right now is, I think, a fantasy league kind of thing, which strangely, the cricket administrators themselves are promoting, which is again unheard of, anywhere else in the world where you have, the administrator itself promoting like a private business, and there is no clash of interest or not seen as a clash of interest. But yes, I if you ask me personally, it's like marijuana in that sense. If you legalize it, it makes more sense than have an illegal business which is sort of siphoning off your own wealth nationally. So yeah, I would say definitely one should.
Mm-hmm. And I think when you are playing such a character like Bhai Saab, because obviously he is very powerful, you feel his aura. I mean, at the beginning of last season, that first scene where he basically sacks that journalist. I mean, gosh, I would hate to be in that position. So how do you bring about that aura? What is your reference point as an actor when you are playing someone so powerful and so great in that sense?
Well, 90% of my work the writers do. For me, it's just a question of finding the right, one being in the moment. Once, if 90% of the work is on the script, then be in the moment, and then you add a few nuances here and there, whether it's a gesture, there's things that I would call muscle memory. That whenever I'm coming back on the set, for example, if I have to get into Bhai Saab's character fresh, there are things that I keep in mind which are like pointers to me, which is part of my physical being, that I have to kind of switch on a little bit, and that helps. As far as you always, from personal experience, whatever your interactions have been with powerful figures or figures of authority. It can happen within your family, it can be outside, it can be your school principal, whatever. So that kind of experience always helps. how you deal with that, and how they dealt with you, how you saw them. All those things kind of contribute to you building that character as well. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my process, if you can call it that.
Wonderful. I think obviously having on a final note, I mean, like which something which I really, really enjoy about Inside Edge, because it provides a never really explored world into the world of cricket. It provides a special insight in that sense as well. Having done a series like Inside Edge, how, if at all, has your perception towards cricket and the sports system changed? I wanted to open it up to everyone. Richa, would you like to go first?
To go, also, pardon me, I have to simultaneously do a blood test as I'm speaking to you.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
But
Oh, wow.
I mean, my perception of the game of cricket, actually, I know that this was a fictional account, but you remember a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, that behind the scenes kind of IPL blog came out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you remember? So
Yes, of
I
course.
always thought that that was a great starting point for some kind of like semi-fictionalization of something that everyone is so invested in. For me, the IPL was all fun and games until that point, because I thought, it's within the country. One city is playing another city, and what's the big deal? But people are really invested in it. It's the biggest money on offer anywhere in the world for cricket. So yeah, I guess to some extent, not just the show. I mean, the show seems to really take off from where that blog ended.
Yeah. Mm.
It was a fictional blog, as people later found out. But I'm saying the way the show's been constructed, it just makes it something exciting. Like I would love to be a fly on the wall, inside the men's cricket team locker room, or in the corridors of power somewhere when the BCCI selection is happening, and how they're posing for the photographs and Singhasan ke piche kaun khada hai, etc. I I would love to see all that. So yeah, I guess it's piqued my interest a bit.
Wonderful.
PIQUED. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I would love to be a fly on the wall too, Richa. Maybe we can manifest for that at some point in our lives.
Makki.
Akshay, yeah, Makki. Akshay, what about you?
Yeah, no, I think Richa said it really well. All of these things they're so interesting. Anything with power and big money is always attractive. Um,
Yeah.
and I think, as you rightly said, this is one of the only shows that kind of show you what's happening behind the curtains. Of course, a fictionalized version of what potentially could be going around in the background. But it's really, I mean, I think we got to thank the digital age for this kind of material coming out. I really don't think, if this was still the age of just cinema exclusively, that we would have told a story like this. This lends itself to a longer form of storytelling. I also think that we've been a bit more gutsy in terms of OTT material and content, because with Bollywood, the film space, there is a certain template that we make sure that we kind of hit those markers, because there's big monies riding on it. There's distribution. There are exhibition. There are many layers to pay, and people don't want losses at that level. So people were not very kind of experimental in the stories they were telling. Thanks
Yeah.
to the advent of the digital age, we can tell a story like this, which is extremely attractive, because as you guys were saying, as Richa was saying, our
Yeah, yeah.
sports, that kind of live that kind of live excitement is like what Richa's providing us right now by getting her blood tested. It's something exciting and fresh to watch.
I'll
So
step out if you want. I'm sorry.
No, stay
No, no,
on,
we're
Richa.
good. We're good.
Yeah.
We're
we're
not
good, we're good,
queasy at
loving
all.
it. Yeah, not
Let it
freezing even a little
flow.
bit. Let it flow. Let that blood flow. So yeah, I'm just happy to be a small part of the big crowd telling this powerful story.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much. That was so lovely, Akshay. Tanuj, what about you?
I feel wherever there's big money and power and glamour and politics involved, I mean, it's the perfect melting pot, the perfect storm for malpractices to take place, And now we can neither confirm nor deny, because we're not investigating what actually has been going on or is going on or will continue to go on. But I do feel I can't comment too much on international sport, but I do feel at the club level, and especially like with the Premier League in India, there's it's tamasha cricket. I mean, any purist of the game there's absolutely no way in hell that so many matches just ironically go right down to the wire, to the last ball, to the last over. So I just feel we've kind of packaged that in a even more exciting and interesting manner, where we're not, a lot of people would be like, oh, you guys are really running the sport of cricket down, and I'm like, guys, everybody associated, all the makers as well as many of the actors and the talent associated with the show are massive fans of the sport. So we're not going to like run the game down. But the fact is, if something's going on, we're just showing you that, hey, something like that could or could not be possibly going on. So enjoy it for what it is, but don't don't think don't take it too seriously. It's just entertainment.
Absolutely. Amir, finally, wanted to get your opinion as well.
Before IPL started, I come from, again, an earlier generation. We were kind of disillusioned already with all the match fixing and stuff in cricket. And, T20 cricket kind of made it all mainstream in that sense. So for me, sport and politics are the strangers to bedfellows, and in India they are pretty much intertwined, which is again not the case in other. If you look at the Football Premier League or Barclays Premier League, not anymore Barclays, but the English Premier League, which is the kind of model that was being copied here in cricket. That is not the case there. And even though they have issues with racism and things like that, and it is kind of an independent authority. Here you have, figures from the government who have direct connections with the government of the state, and politicians from different hues are actually trying to run the game. And therefore the game suffers because their motive remains profit. And that's what this series has been about. That greed and politics and profit is the oil that is running this machine rather than the sport.
Sure. I think on that note as well, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone joining me on Filmy Show Me. It was lovely to chat with you, and wishing you all the very best for Inside Edge Season 3.
I'm so sorry for Anuj. Thank you for being understanding. I'm a severely unwell woman with.
Oh, that's okay. Wishing you a speedy recovery, Richa.
No, I'm fine. I'm just taking a precautionary test. I'm completely alive. But sorry about that little distraction.
No problem at all.
I apologize.
No problem at all.
Thank you.